good day to be indigenous.
Get up, stand up.
They are going to become more brutal.
Because all the hippies were trying to be Indians anyway.
They're going to become more repressive because it's a matter of dollars and their illusionary concepts of power.
Hey, Victor.
We must live in balance with the earth.
And also with recent happenings at Wounded Knee.
I am awake.
Welcome to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and I'm your host, Wakanja Hade. Hey, Kadagiwina, to all my friends and relatives in four directions. You are listening to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and I'm your host, Robert Pilot. We discuss local and national Native news and events, and as you know, Chujunk, Native news is people news, and people news is Native news.
Yes, it is, Dega. This portion of this show is supported by the city of Minneapolis.
Hey, we have our guest host, Christine McDonald, for Minneapolis A.I.R, and that's American Indian Relations, bringing us Minneapolis events, news, and important things. And I just want to introduce our guest host with the most. Christine, welcome again, and take it away.
Thank you. Bonjour, Ogaraki Gabwik Nandishnakas, Ajijak Ndendem, Han Hudakyati. I am Christine McDonald. I'm the American Indian Community Specialist with the City of Minneapolis. I am Anishinaabe and Hunkpapa Dakota. Thank you for being here with us tonight. This is a big year for one of the biggest city projects in Minneapolis. The Upper Harbor project is going to be bringing housing, parkland, and more to the north side of Minneapolis along the Mississippi River. And joining us now to talk about that is Hilary Holmes. She is a senior project coordinator in the city CPED department, which is Community Planning and Economic Development. Hilary, can you tell us a little bit more about the work that you do at the city?
Yes, I can. Hi, Christine. Good evening, all. Thanks for having me. I am a senior project coordinator, and what does that mean? That means that on my team, we work on property that the city of Minneapolis owns. That's commercial property, so it's not residential property. Sometimes those sites can be redeveloped into mixed use, commercial and residential, but my team works really just on that commercial property. One of those properties is Upper Harbor. That is a very large property, of course. It's about 50 acres. And we'll talk more about that soon. That is a lot of my time working on that project. I've been with the city about 5 years doing this work, and before that was with the city of St. Paul. I also work on different funding and financing sources to help projects that the city does not own. One example of those that wrapped up last year and opened is the Juxtaposition Arts campus expansion on the north side. So they have a number of funding sources, and so some of those flow through the city. And then the city also was a financial participant in that project. So that's nice. A little snapshot of some of the work.
That's a lot of big work. Thank you. Can you tell us just what is the Upper Harbor project?
Yes. The Upper Harbor, as I mentioned, is about 50 acres on the Mississippi River, right on the riverfront. It's about between the Camden, or it's Dowling Avenue and Washington Avenue is kind of focused around that intersection. It's a mile of riverfront along the river there, and just kind of roughly between, I think it's the Lowry and Camden Bridge might be kind of larger landmarks for people to help orient you. So it's between I-94 where that came through North Minneapolis and the river itself. And there's a few different parcels of land that are located there. And over a few different decades, the city of Minneapolis acquired ownership of that land. As we think about ownership these days, as far as what the city owns or does not own. And that's the city was managing and taking care of that property for those decades, and also operating a barge shipping terminal on that site that closed when the lock closed, the St. Anthony lock closed to barge traffic. That was around 2014, 2015. Mm-hmm. And many people for many years had been thinking about what the site could be if it was not that use. Previous uses on the site, of course, included some amount of agriculture, milling, those types of more agricultural or industrial uses. and then more industrial use, of course, until very recently. I realize I'm kind of adding a couple notes, but it might be, helpful to think about the site that way. So since 2015, the city of Minneapolis has been working with the Minneapolis Park and Recreation Board and a development team that's led by a local development company, United Properties. And we have been working to redevelop the site. So turn it from the most recent industrial use that it was into a mix of uses, reconnect the McKinley neighborhood on the north side to the river, and provide a mix of uses on that site that better serve current residents of the north side and communities.
Can you tell us where in the process this project is at?
Yes, certainly. So in September of 2021, the City Council approved a coordinated plan for redevelopment of the site that followed a few years of planning and visioning and engagement with the Park Board. The Park Board, there's no one from the Park Board on this call, this is city, but they really have been a great partner through this process and have been, of course, very involved as they plan out their park that will be on the site. We'll talk about that more a little bit too. So after the City Council approved that coordinated plan, we began implementing that. And so the last couple of years, that has meant that the city was preparing the site, so doing some kind of site work, soil work, limited demolition of some of the industrial structures on the site, and then to prepare the site for the first phase of development. And we can talk more about what would be in that first phase of development.
How about you do tell us what is in that first phase?
Yeah, of course. As I had mentioned, there would be the riverfront parkland. And so that's, mixed use trails along the riverfront there for walking, biking, rolling. And then also kind of a core park area right at Dowling and Washington. There's going to be, as I mentioned, mixed use development. So, buildings that would provide both commercial space and residential space. There's also affordable housing. That's been a big focus of the engagement and input to date, and then what is included in the plan, as well as an outdoor music performance venue. It's also known as the Community Performing Arts Center, or sometimes for short CPAC. That's acronyms. They never seem to go away. So that's what we have. But also the outdoor music amphitheater, and so that is, indeed a mix of uses. So it's not just one thing happening up there.
So are you able to share with us what type of engagement went around in what happened in deciding what types of things to consider putting in? I can't imagine that the city just decided this all on their own.
That's right. And of course, a lot of this predates me because this had been going on for a few years prior to my involvement and prior to my working at the city. So the Park Board and the city together were joined in engagement, kind of that broader visioning. And so a lot of that engagement, I would say around 2015, 2016 was focused on visioning what would bring you to the river, what do you want to see here? And then as we, again, collectively, both with public input and then the city and the Park Board and also the development team started to refine those uses. And that was something called the concept plan. And that was around 2019. And then the city formed an advisory committee and the Park Board formed their own advisory committee around that time. And so the Park Board has their own plan for the regional park, and the city has the coordinated plan that I was referencing for the redevelopment. And so that advisory committee met for 3 years, pre-COVID and also during COVID, lots of hours online, and really refined what the community, again, represented by the advisory committee and lots of input, want to see happening there.
Is there a way for folks to find out more about the Upper Harbor Terminal project?
Yes, definitely. We have a community meeting coming up on March 26th at UROC, the University of Minnesota Urban Research and Outreach Center, and that is at 2001 Plymouth Ave North. That's 5:30 to 7:30, March 26th. There's project updates and cities and project staff to talk to at that meeting.
Thank you so much.
We'll be right back with Minneapolis A.I.R. You're You're listening to Native Roots Radio.
Unwanted sexting or photos, inappropriate jokes, even tickling or wrestling can feel like a violation. Catcalling, cornering, or groping, getting them drunk or high for sex, recording sexual acts without permission, hurting someone because of their sexual orientation, raping a family member, a child, a date, a friend, a stranger, purchasing a human being for sex. You make the choice every single time. Sexual violence is many things. Make a choice. Do not do it.
Sponsored by the Minnesota Indian Women's Sexual Assault Coalition.
The city of Minneapolis is now on Native Roots Radio with Minneapolis A.I.R. A.I.R stands for American Indian Relations. Guest host Christine McDonald talks to people about important things affecting the city's Native communities. Minneapolis A.I.R dives into topics like public safety, public health, elections, and so much more. Tune in to Minneapolis A.I.R on Native Roots Radio from 5 to 6 p.m. on the second Wednesday of every month, right here on AM 950.
Attention transit customers. On Saturday, March 16th, Metro Transit will make changes to transit service within your community. As we do each quarter, we review our resources and ridership trends. These service changes continue our ongoing work to best serve customers throughout our system with our given resources. A summary of the upcoming service changes and a preview of the updated schedules are available now at metrotransit.org.
The vehicle for the Minnesota family is the Toyota Sienna, and the best place to get one is Rudy Luther Toyota in Golden Valley. That's not an opinion, that's a fact. I have 3 kids, and the Sienna hauls all your kids' sports and school gear easily. I can attest they're the safest vehicles, trust me, protecting your most valuable cargo. They're the perfect vehicle for the spring break or summer road trip, and the hybrid model is insanely fuel efficient. And Rudy Luther Toyota has a great selection of new and certified pre-owned Siennas. Get one today. It's my highest recommendation. Rudy Luther Toyota, west of Minneapolis on 394.
This is Leonard Peltier. I am in Coleman 1 U.S. Penitentiary, and I'm listening to Native Roots Radio.
And we're back to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and this is Robert Pilot.
Today's show is supported by the city of Minneapolis.
Hey, we're here with guest host Christine McDonald for Minneapolis A.I.R, American Indian Relations. Go ahead, take it away, Christine.
The Minneapolis Fire Department is looking for new firefighters, and joining us, I don't see Melanie. Joining us now to talk about that is Assistant Fire Chief Melanie Rucker.
Yes. She was here a second ago in the online studio, and now I am not seeing her device.
Well, while we're waiting, maybe Christine, we can talk about the importance of like having our people and show up to these opportunities, and especially working with the fire department in Minneapolis. I know it's a great job, it's a career, and our people listening out there, take a look at this opportunity.
Yeah, one of my things that I like to brag about, is not my brag though, is that my aunt was one of the first women firefighters on the department. And so this career holds a special place for me, being able to know all the things that she went through. And then when I started in my role at the city, I was in human resources. And I was brought on specifically to assist with the fighter application campaign at the time. So I've been able to watch that whole process play out for applicants, from the time, they would call all the time, hey, is it opening up for application? Because it only opens up every so many years. Mm-hmm. So they would be asking to be put on a wait list, notify me when it opens up. And then we'd have the applications open. At that time, you could only apply in person. And so I got to put faces and names together. But it was really like a satisfying point in my career to be able to watch from the very front end to the point where they go all the way through the process. They get put on the list, they get hired, and they actually get sworn in to the fire department. So that was one of the nice points to see that whole complete process for some individuals. Good evening, Melanie. It's great to see you.
Good evening. I am sorry. I am actually at a recruitment event and I'm having trouble with my internet here. I'm kind of hotspotting, trying to get everything done. I'm actually over South Minneapolis at the Banyan Community Center, and we are doing our first information session right now. So I apologize for my shoddy internet.
That's okay.
But thank you for having me.
Yeah, multitasking in the field. That's amazing.
Thanks.
All right, so we were just talking about how this year is a big year for fire recruitment. It is a big project. Introducing you, Melanie Rucker, the Assistant Chief of the Minneapolis Fire Department. And if you could take a minute to tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, so I am, like you said, Assistant Chief Melanie Rucker. I have actually been on the fire department for 25 years, and I have came through the ranks of firefighter and I did hear Miss Christine talking about her being in HR, and when I got hired, she was our HR person. So I have been knowing her for the 25 years of me being on this department, and she has been a great partner with the fire department and helping recruit the diversity that we're looking for in the community. So she is just a great asset to us and a great friend, as well. So I really appreciate Christine.
It's been a great time. So when you were hired, the city was actually under a consent decree for the fire department. They had issues around adverse impact showing up in the testing process. And I think at the time it went to show that leadership at the top really needed to be invested and sincerely believe in making the changes needed to help the department be diverse. So at one point, Minneapolis was the most diverse fire department in the country. And so we're hoping to help the department do more of that recruitment this year. And so Melanie, can you tell our audience a bit about what kind of jobs are actually open in the fire department?
Yeah, so we are actually going to be opening up our job application for the firefighter cadet program, which is a training program, paid training program into becoming a firefighter. So this is the way that you become a Minneapolis firefighter, is through the fire cadet program. So applications are opening for that position starting April 1st through the 15th through April 15th. So we are training, we are recruiting, and this fire department application list will create it's called a civil service list, and we'll create a list of over, could be up to 500 people on that list to hire from to become Minneapolis firefighters. So this is a great opportunity because our lists last 2 years usually before we open it up to create another list. So this is a great opportunity to become a Minneapolis firefighter.
Can you tell us who can apply? What are the minimum requirements?
Yeah, so the minimum requirements for the Minneapolis Fire Department is just you have to be 18 years of age or older with a high school diploma or GED equivalent, have a Minneapolis driver's license, and be able to and qualify to work within the United States. So just simple as that. You don't have to know anything about being a firefighter. You don't to do everything to even learn how to fight fires, as well as we also, are not only firefighters, but we're emergency medical technician, national registry trained. So we'll also train you on that. So the only minimum qualifications, 18 years of age or older, high school diploma or GED equivalent, and be able to work in the United States with a valid Minneapolis driver's license. It doesn't have to be Minneapolis.
Yeah. So this is really a great opportunity for people who have those minimum requirements. I mean, that is really a very minimum requirement where the department will then pay you while you learn the knowledge that you need to be a firefighter, and pay you while you learn the physical needs to be a firefighter. Can you tell us, what does that pay start at? What does that look like during cadet school and then after you get into a firehouse?
Oh, her internet might be frozen.
I heard her first.
It might be better if she turned her camera off and would use less bandwidth, as they say in the rock bands across the country.
Okay. You guys already see me, so I'll do that. Let's see if that helps. Okay, can you hear me?
I can hear you. Yep.
Okay, great. Okay, so so the starting salary for a firefighter cadet is $73.
Oh, there she goes.
Oh no. Those hot spots, never reliable.
I wonder if she heard me about turning off her camera.
Yeah, she did.
I think she said
she was,
73,000 for starting.
Yes.
Is that correct?
Yes,
Wow.
73,000, and then I believe with the contract it goes up to 75 in January of 2025.
Okay.
There you go, Haley.
Did you want to try turning the camera off so you use less bandwidth?
Okay, let's see.
And then we can hear. Yeah. I think we lost her.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes,
Yeah.
perfect.
Okay, so I think I'm on here twice here. So one spinning and one you can hear my voice. So, so yeah, 73,000 a year, and that is just a recent bump in our contract that we actually jumped from 68,000 to 73,000 this year for fire cadets.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then when you initially start in the fire cadet program, it's Monday through Friday. The basic 9-hour training. And as you're going through training, like I say, we pay for everything. And you also get that full-time pay as you're going through training and get your fire accreditations and your EMT. And then once you graduate from that program, then you are an official Minneapolis firefighter, and then your schedule will change. So we work 24 hours a day. We start at 8 a.m. in the morning, and then we work to 8 a.m. the next morning. And it kind of sounds like a lot, but for us, you only work twice a week. So you get your 40 hours done within just working 2 days. And then as you're on shift at the station, you are, you do your training and do everything in the morning, what you need to do. You can go to the grocery store. If you see us at the grocery store, we're getting lunch and dinner, and we eat, and then, and you could actually sleep. And then if you're getting, incidents or calls in the middle of the night, you have to get up, and then you leave and things like that. But it's a great career. And then again, we're having information sessions coming up.
Yeah. Hey, we're going to take a quick break here, and we are Native Roots Radio presents Minneapolis A.I.R, American Indian Relations, with our guest host, Christine. We'll be right back after this short break. Hey, if you're like a lot of people, you're probably relieved that the holiday celebrations are over. But there's one thing that might stay with us from the holidays besides all those gifts, and that's COVID-19. Numbers from COVID are going up as we spend more time inside. And Native Americans are seeing even bigger case spikes. With all the indoor celebrations over the holidays, you may have unknowingly been exposed to someone with COVID-19. That's why it's important to stay vigilant. If you notice any symptoms like a fever, a tickle in the throat, or heavy fatigue, take an at-home test. They're still free and can be ordered at sayyeshometest.org. If you do test positive, you're eligible for free treatment, and no health insurance is required. Visit health.state.mn.us to connect with providers and receive your treatment. Let's make 2024 the healthiest year ever, securing a brighter future for our Native community.
J&S Bean Factory is a Native-owned, community-supported, cozy, artsy coffee shop which offers roasted on-site beans, live music, and baked goods. Relax in the beautiful outside patio. City Pages writes, voted top 10 coffee shops. Tucked into a quiet corner of St. Paul's Highland Park neighborhood, this coffee shop roasts beans on-site from the best coffee-growing countries in the world. located at 1518 Randolph Avenue, St. Paul. The good stuff.
Life can be hard. Sometimes it feels like there's no answers, like there's no way out. Hennepin County's COPE Mobile Crisis Response is here to listen and help you find a way through whatever is going on in your life. Call 612-596-1223 for no-cost crisis support anytime, anywhere in Hennepin County. That number is 612-596-1223. Minnesota has the only original wolf population in the continental United States.
And 80% of Minnesotans believe the wolf should be protected.
Howling for Wolves is asking Minnesotans to respect our true wildlife manager, the wolf.
Their survival is critical to our ecosystems, our communities, and even our economy.
As highly intelligent animals with strong social bonds, Minnesota wolves deserve to be protected and admired.
Learn more at howlingforwolves.org. Let's live and let howl.
You're listening to AM 950, the progressive voice of Minnesota.
All My Relations Arts presents Okizi. Okizi means to heal, and the exhibition highlights the healing power of cultural revitalization for Native communities. Okizi showcases prints, mixed media, textiles, beadwork, digital collage, and glass sculptures by Native American and Sami artists. It explores indigenous communities' active healing efforts through language revitalization, land back movements, and embracing traditional knowledge. Visit All My Relations Arts to experience Okizi through April 13th. More information at allmyrelationsarts.org.
Attention transit customers. On Saturday, March 16th, Metro Transit will make changes to transit service within your community. As we do each quarter, we review our resources and ridership trends. These service changes continue our ongoing work to best serve customers throughout our system with our given resources. A summary of the upcoming service changes and a preview of the updated schedules are available now at metrotransit.org. With a look at your AM 950 weather, I'm Patrick Lilia. Tonight will be cloudy with a low of 41, then Thursday cloudy with a high of 53. For more than 40 years, the Great Wall Restaurant has been serving up Szechuan and Mandarin favorites. The Great Wall is located just north of 50th in France on the Minneapolis Edina City line. Check them out at greatwallrestaurant.us.
Anine, I'm Lieutenant Governor Peggy Flanagan, and you are listening to Native Roots Radio.
Welcome back to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and this is Robert Pilot.
Today's show is supported by the city of Minneapolis.
Right on, and here we are with guest host Christine McDonald for Minneapolis A.I.R. That's American Indian Relations. We're talking about one of my favorite things, especially as a youngster, fire department. So take it away.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. It's great to be back. Melanie, you want to make sure we can hear you.
Yes, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes, perfect. So we were talking about the firefighter application process. We talked a little bit about what that training looked like, what the pay looked like. How about what that actual testing process looks like? Can you share with us what they have to go through to even get put on the list to be considered to be hired?
Yeah, so after you fill out your application and you put your qualifications on your application, you will be asked to you'll be invited to come to what is called our physical agility test. And that is called the CPAT test. And you can look what that is up online at cpat.org or go to YouTube. So C as in cat, P as in Paul, A as in apple, and T as in Tom.org and look up what that actual physical agility test is. And so that is just a pass-fail test. So if you get past the test, then we'll have an oral exam, and then it's kind of like an interview process, but it's scored. And then if you score high enough, ranked high enough, depending on how large of a list that we create, then you'll be on that, you'll get a ranking score, and then you'll be on that application external list to be hired on to come into fire cadet school to be a firefighter, to train to be a firefighter.
So potentially, how long would it be, like from the day that I put an application in to potentially being hired as a cadet? What's like the shortest time that could happen? And then what's the longest time frame that could happen?
So the shortest time usually will be 6 months and up to a year that you'll get notification and you can kind of see where you're ranked at once the list actually gets certified. Sometimes it's between 6 and 8 months to get through the whole process. Because once you, that list, you have to go through all the candidates to take the physical agility test, then oral exam. And then, if you are requested to come, to become a firefighter, then there's also a background check. There is the medical exam as well as a psychological exam that you will have to go through as well once you get it offered to come into the fire cadet program. So if you pass all that, then it could be almost up to a year once the civil service list is certified.
And how many people, how many cadets are you looking to hire in the first class and potentially over the life of this list?
So the first class, we're looking to hopefully have everything certified, by mid-March of next year, hopefully, if we can get everything completed, and up to 25 first candidates of that first class. We are an older department, so we're having a lot of retirements. So that could change.
Yep.
And we have a mandated number right now that we have to remain at 434 firefighters, and if not, we have to get back at those numbers within 6 months. So we will be hiring, our department is having a lot of retirements. So this is a great opportunity and a good time to actually apply.
I can't help but think about how this is like coming full circle, because when I started with the city, that was the same thing we were seeing. There was a number of retirements that were happening. And so we were having these unusually large classes that the department was bringing on. And then with that too, is like being able to watch you rise through the ranks came along with promotional opportunities. So if someone gets hired into the department, what do promotional opportunities look like for those people?
Yeah, promotional opportunities are really great for the fire department because it's based on your knowledge and your, it's not, as who you are per se or who likes you or not. It's pretty based on your skills and knowledge, and we do the testing for the promotional opportunities. So promoting through the ranks, you could start your actual promotion through the ranks, which is actually more pay, starting at 4 years on the department. And then that's to the driver's level. And then if you want to be a captain, that's 5 years on the department. So it's pretty quick progression if that is something that you're interested in. And it's very fair. As I have, experienced as to hiring. And then I also want to add that we are looking for diversity. I am a Black a woman on this fire department, which is predominantly usually a white male predominant fire department. So we are looking to reflect the community that we serve. So we want, the community. The community should be, on our department if we're serving the community. So, we want everyone to apply. So if this is something that, you are interested in, come out for an information session to talk to us. You see it, you can do it. And, it wasn't something that me as a woman, a Black female in the community even thought about. But this is a career. It's a well-paid career that we, of minority status should be looking into and should be applying for because, we can do this career. We can do this job.
Yep. Representation matters. It really has been wonderful when I was in HR to be able to work with all the people that came through that applied and tested and got on the department and being able to become friends for the past 25 years with some of you guys, some of you women. Can you tell us, there are some opportunities for folks to go in person and learn more and meet some of the people out of the department. Can you tell us what those information sessions are and when and where they're happening?
Yeah, so the information sessions are a great tool to come to because it tells you what we're looking for when you're applying for this position. It'll go into more details about the physical test that you have to take. It'll go into more details about, what to expect in the oral interview, how to study for that, how to, also apply, navigating some of these City of Minneapolis web pages are just crazy. So it goes into more detail about how to apply, details about the timeline of the hiring process, what to expect, what to look for, as well as talk to some of us firefighters. And I always say, you see it, you can be it. And I want, people, and especially women, to come out and size themselves up with me. Until you see me in person, you're like, oh, if she can do it, I could do it. You know what I mean? Because there's always, you think of like this big brawn, male figure, and, and that's not it's not a cookie cutter, image of what we are and who we are as firefighters. So, come out and get a little bit more information. And we have one actually tonight. That's kind of why my internet is spotty. I'm here right now at the Banyan Community Center. And it started at 5:30 through 7:30. And then our next one is this coming Saturday, March 16th at our Fire Museum. And then the one following that is at the UROC, University of Minnesota, over North Minneapolis. And then the next one, that one is March 27th. And then there's also another one, March 30th at the Fire Museum, again, over Northeast Minneapolis. You can go on our website, Minneapolis, City of Minneapolis Fire Department website, and this information sessions are also posted on there.
Mm-hmm. Yep, I know a number of us have been sharing that information on Facebook as well, so it can be found there. The other thing that I think is important to share, you brought up the physical needs to be a firefighter. The women take the same exact test as the men. So when people think about the strength that's needed, they're all taking the same test. You all have to pass that same test, be able to lift the same person, to be able. So there's no advantages or disadvantages that either group has.
Right. So we take the exact same test, and it's pass fail. And what being a woman, I know that there's some men that I might be stronger and better in shape than, but I know that our strength as a woman in other people, your strength might not be as strong as the next person, but there's techniques and ways that we use the strongest part of our body, that, as we're going through. So when you go for the physical agility test, there's practice sessions, and firefighters will be there. Firefighters, male, female will be there, and we could show you techniques of, this is how we do this, because, this firefighting and things that we do, like I was a country girl, so I grew up on a farm, so I know how to chop. I use the axe or things like that, but some people might not have. So, we train you, and you can practice to, build yourself up to do this firefighting. You're not going to know on day one or just now, but we will definitely train you and make you ready to do this.
Mm-hmm. I don't know if you were on yet, but I had mentioned, I'm going to say it again, one of my bragging points is able to say that my aunt was one of the first female firefighters on the department. So there have been and are Native women on the department as well.
Yes.
The other thing, trying to talk to people about becoming a firefighter right away, they push back. Oh, that's too dangerous. I don't think I want to do that. And so can you tell us more about how much time is really spent responding to fires compared to responding to other things?
Yeah. So like I was saying, when I was saying we're also trained as emergency medical technicians. So right now, 85% of our incidents that we respond to are medical incidents. So, and we are basic life support, and we arrive prior to the ambulance service, and we do basic life support skills until the ambulance arrives, and then we support the ambulance. So 85% of our incidents are medical. And then we have, a lot of false alarms, and, and we do have, structure fires. And I think for Minneapolis, because we have a lot of residential homes that are smaller that, we don't have the big we have some warehouses, but not that, many within the city. So I always say fire is dangerous and you have to respect fire, but we always err on the safety. If we don't save ourselves, we can't save you. So we always go in, with a pair, we risk a lot to save a lot, which is a life. We risk, to save property, not to the extent of our life. So we train you very well and we take safety, up to the highest precaution, especially safety for us. Before we're going to save property, we will save a life.
Right.
Let's
I think
take a
when we
quick
come
short-
back, we'll talk about recreation fires and prevention. Thank you.
Right on. Good job, Christine. Hey, it's Native Roots Radio presents Minneapolis A.I.R, Minneapolis American Indian Relations. We'll be right back.
Doherty Family College at the University of St. Thomas is your pathway to a bachelor's degree. Located in downtown Minneapolis, Doherty Family College offers an affordable education that includes free textbooks, a laptop, meals, career coaches, and a Metro Transit pass. As a full-time Doherty Family College student, you'll benefit from mentorship from St. Thomas faculty, along with paid internships and support from Minnesota's largest private college. Ready to turn your dreams into reality? Apply now at dfc.stthomas.edu. Doherty Family College, your journey to success starts here.
The city of Minneapolis is now on Native Roots Radio with Minneapolis A.I.R. A.I.R stands for American Indian Relations. Guest host Christine McDonald talks to people about important things affecting the city's Native communities. Minneapolis A.I.R dives into topics like public safety, public health, elections, and so much more. Tune in to Minneapolis A.I.R on Native Roots Radio from 5 to 6 p.m. on the second Wednesday of every month, right here on AM 950.
As we pack away the ornaments and bid farewell to the holiday season, it's time to unwrap the gift that keeps on giving, getting protected by a COVID-19 vaccination. This is your chance to make a difference, especially as our Native communities face higher COVID numbers. Those higher numbers underscore the need for collective action. So answer the call and get vaccinated. The latest vaccines are not just authorized, but they're proven effective against the current variants. This is extra protection even if you've already had previous vaccines, since previous vaccines will eventually wear off. Plus, the new shots are FDA approved for ages 6 months and up. A COVID vaccine is not just a shot. It's a pledge to safeguard the wisdom and stories handed down by our elders. So join the movement, get vaccinated, and make 2024 the healthiest year ever, securing a brighter future for our Native community. For more information, including details about clinics offering free vaccines, visit vaccines.gov.
Hi, I'm Jane Fonda, and you're listening to Native Roots Radio.
And we're back to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and this is Robert Pilot.
Today's show is supported by the city of Minneapolis.
Hey, we are here with guest host Christine McDonald for Minneapolis A.I.R, American Indian Relations. And Christine, I just want to say firefighting after 9/11 became the most trusted profession. And I know my wife was a little upset because it used to be pharmacist, and then after 9/11, it's been firefighters ever since.
Yeah. Doesn't surprise me. So many kids have had that lifelong dream of becoming a firefighter. Yeah. So Chief Rucker, while you're with us today, let's talk about recreational fires. Temperatures are above average for this time of the year for us, and that has led to a lot of people doing more outdoor activities. So can you tell us and explain what a bonfire or recreational fire is for people who may not know?
Yeah, so, recreational fire is pretty much an outdoor fire, burning approved materials for, it could be for pleasure, it could be for ceremonial, cooking, religious activities, or just being outside with your family. I always think of, when I think of recreational fires, is outdoors, roasting marshmallows, making s'mores and things like that, or you're cooking, you're barbecuing outside, And, it might be a little nippy night and you have like a little small fire outdoors with your family surrounding, or different things like that. So it's a smaller fire that, is for, recreational and family and friends and time outside of your home.
I think for one of the big things for our community is to note that the ceremonial piece falls under this same definition. So I think this information is going to be helpful for our audience tonight. So you mentioned that only some materials are approved for burning. Can you tell us what those materials are?
Yeah, so when we say materials that are approved for, it is the untreated wood. So, when I think of untreated wood, it's like you cut down a tree and it has still the bark on it or things like that, or the wood that you can purchase like at the Home Depots or, the stores, the gas station. It's untreated wood. The treated wood. Yeah, so treated wood would be something like your chair fell apart and you're breaking up and has paint on it, or your deck that has, the oils or the treatments that are within it. Because once it's burning, it's releasing those chemicals, which are could be toxic. So that's what so untreated wood is just basic, natural wood that you can, get from a tree in your community, or that, it's purchased at one of the stores.
Are there other rules that we should be aware of around those fires?
Yeah, so it should be, it says 25 feet from your home or anything to get a fence that can catch fire. But because, we're in the city and we don't really have 25 feet from our homes, but we kind of recommend that if you're going to have a fire, make sure it's not near anything that is combustible, like a fence or anything like that. So center it in the middle of your yard. You should have an extinguishing agent that's around. So it could be your water hose that you water your yard with, a bucket of water. And it needs to also be, manned by someone 18 years of age or older, and someone has to be, there to monitor the fire. So just in case it gets out of hand, then you can use that extinguishing the water to, to put it out. So before it spreads to your home or to the fence or anything like that. And then, they say there's burning hours, which are between 9 a.m. and 10 p.m. at night. And then as well, if it's really windy outside, they say 10 miles per hour. I don't know what the wind speeds are normally, but if the trees are like moving around and leaves are moving around, then, it's probably not a good time to have a fire. And make sure it's not too large as well.
So there are issues around whether there's pollution in the air, or how about like what we're seeing right now where it's really dry out?
Yeah, so if there is a pollution warning that you might hear on the news, then, they're going to say, burning. And then as well as if there is a, a drought or, burn hazard, the grass is super dry, the vegetation is super dry, it's easily to ignite, because as the, it might be a little breeze going, those sparks will, fly. So then it could easily, catch fire of the vegetation around because it's so dry outside.
Which was really crazy to me. There was already like a grass fire along 35. At what point does, and who decides to put an alert out that you shouldn't be burning fires?
So Minnesota Pollution Control will put the word out regarding the pollution, the air quality and things like that. And then also the state will put out if there is a hazard, and so you'll hear it on the news, on your social media if it's a burn ban at that time.
Okay. So do propane recreational fires have to follow the same rules as the wood burning ones?
No, because they are controlled and you have a controlled shut off. They're don't follow the exact same as the free burning wood, because there's more of a control shut off, and then the hours are more flexible, but there still should always be an adult present. So it doesn't have to be the 25 feet, and then the hours are more flexible, but just make sure there's still someone there monitoring the fire.
Okay. So can you have a propane fire table, like if you live in an apartment or a condo?
I would always lean on your association rules of your condo or your building rules. They will take the priority, so you have to ask your management. But usually they are allowed on if it's a propane tank versus like a charcoal grill or things like that are usually not allowed on on balconies. But I would always make sure that you apply to your rules of your building management.
So what if somebody has a charcoal something going? What should they do?
So usually
their neighbor,
yeah. So usually you can call 911 and then we'll come out. And we'll check the fire, and if we deem that it's illegal or you cannot have it, then we'll ask you to put it out. We'll extinguish it, or you can extinguish it. So usually we try to come out and have a conversation, and we and let you know, okay, this is the reason why, this is the ordinance. Can you please put the fire out, or we'll put it out for you? And we usually will, be really lenient, and, as long as you're complying and you're not, going against what we are requesting, then there shouldn't be any problems. Sometimes if we have to come out several times and then that person is not complying, there is a possibility that we can fine you up to $200 to make you comply. But that's very few and far between that we will actually do that.
So beyond those rules, do you have any tips or suggestions if we were to have a bonfire?
Yeah, so we always, tell your neighbors that you're going to have one, invite, have a cookout and invite your neighbors over and just let them know that you're going to have it. And that helps to kind of, make sure that they're not going to complain on you if they are in the know that this is going on.
Perfect. Sounds great. Thank you, Melanie, so much. You're full of so much wonderful information. Thanks, Rucker. I'm sorry.
Wow, great show, Christine. This was Minneapolis A.I.R. Native Roots Radio Presents, our monthly show with Christine McDonald. Great job today. Very informative.
Thank you.
Hey, this is Native Roots Radio, and we'll be back tomorrow. We're still here. We are the seventh generation.
And free Leonard Peltier. Now. With